Today we're taking a look at the Fujifilm Xh2s. Beautiful looking camera with a few different quirks to what we normally used to on a Fujifilm camera. So let's start off by taking a look at the sensor that we have here by pushing this button down and rotating this cap. So here we have an APS-C size sensor. It's a 26 megapixel X-Trans 5C MOS sensor. Beautiful sensor for creating videos, as we will talk about in a moment. One thing that you'll notice is a little bit different on this Fujifilm body as compared to the others like the X-T5 and such like that is this button down here. It's now a toggle button rather than a switch or a toggle switch. You know, how to go from manual to continuous to single for your focus. Here we have the cap here for the sync, and also over here we have a customized button there. Let's move around to the slots that we have on this camera. Let's get nice and close for you guys. So as you can see on this camera, rather than the X-T5 which we recently had a look at, there's a few added bonuses. So we've got a full-size HDMI here, which is beautiful for recording videos if you had an external monitor like a Shinobi or an Atmos Ninja or something like that, which you possibly may need for a camera like this because it has those high recording rates. We have a microphone slot here. We also have a headphone slot. As you can see, these doors open on a hinge and they're quite solid. So we can monitor using headphones, so we can record with a microphone. At the bottom here we have our normal ports, or a USB-C port there for charging and external batteries. Closing that off, we can then rotate to the back of the camera here. Let's just get focus again for you guys. So on the back of the camera now, we have a completely articulating screen, so we can get that out there. It's protected when closed, and if you notice it's got a texture here as well, which blends in nicely with the camera, keeps the aesthetics looking quite pretty. We can open this up and rotate the screen completely so we can see ourselves. So this now is a selfie camera. One thing you'll notice here as well, behind the back of the screen are these two ports here, these two screws. Let's just go a little bit closer for you guys again. And what that allows us to do here is actually to screw in a mechanism at the back to keep the heat down when we're recording long videos. Now this camera can record some high quality video formats, which obviously increases the temperature of this camera. So having something like that is a great option if you're going to take this seriously for filmmaking. In terms of the buttons on the back of the camera here, there's not too much different to previous cameras that we've looked at from Fujifilm. It seems like there's slightly less buttons, so you will find yourself in the menus just a little bit more on this camera than other cameras from the Fujifilm lineup. Got a nice joystick there, which is a bit different to what we're used to. Let's have a look at that one nice and close. Textured, really nice to move around. And then the great bonus, and this is why this camera is quite different to many other Fujifilm cameras out there. It's set for a slightly different user. It's a bigger, bulkier camera. It's got a bigger hand grip here. As you can see, the grip on this camera is quite large, but we've also got the addition of this little mini sub screen here. So let's get that in focus for you guys. It displays what we're looking at right now. So at the moment we're in the movie mode over here. So this is where you do your mode dial select. We're in movie, and if you take a look, we're at DCI, which is 4K DCI. I'm presuming it could be even higher actually. 29.97 frames per second, and we've got some more information here, shooting in F-Log. We can then press the button in here and rotate through our customs, and as you'll see, when we get to manual mode, things can start to change on the screen there. So we can kind of have different sub-screen displays for different menus what we're working at a time, and I'm pretty sure you can go in there and affect that individually. You could with the Xh1, so I'm guaranteeing you can kind of do that with this one and change what exactly you're seeing on the screen there. At the side here, we've got obviously another custom button there, white balance and ISO, and then scroll wheels at the back here and at the front. Really clean. I think they've done this purposely so this kind of differentiates itself from the normal XT series, which is a little bit more aesthetically aimed at film camera users, whereas this one is definitely aimed at the video user in mind. So keeping the button selection down, it makes it a little bit more simplified. You can see here that there is a light button here, view mode for the viewfinder. If we pop that there, we can see that the screen changes, so we can see it in different environments. Okay, let's dive into the menu a little bit here. Okay, so while I'm running through the menu, I'm actually going to throw some stats out there for you guys so you know a bit more about this camera. So first thing to note about the X-H2 is it actually takes 2 different cards as well. So let's have a look at that first. It takes an SD card. It also takes a CF Express card in there as well. Hopefully you guys can see that. So we've got CF Express Type B. We've also got SD, which it takes, which is quite handy. We need those faster speeds for the video quality that this camera can do. Really high bit rates on this thing. So let's switch the camera back on. The sensor as well is IBIS. It's allowing up to 7 stops of stabilization on this sensor, which is quite incredible. It's also got a hybrid focusing system, so you've also got contrast detection, also phase detection. So when it comes to focusing and tracking subjects, this camera will be a lot nicer to do so than previous cameras. In terms of the shutter, how fast this thing can shoot, we can shoot 40 frames per second on the electronic shutter, and we can shoot 15 frames per second on a mechanical shutter, which is quite nice. It's also got subject detection. It can detect for animals, for birds, you know, those kind of things, cars, motorcycles, airplanes. There's quite a few things this thing can select. It's got 6.2K movie mode in here at a bit rate of 720, which is crazy. It can record Apple ProRes 422HQ and do slow-mo at 240 frames per second, which is absolutely incredible. So let's take a look at the settings a little bit in here just to see what you kind of get. So we've got the movie settings list here. And as you can see, we're at DCI at the moment in F-Log. You can also shoot in RAW via HDMI. So this side here is relating to the media inside the camera. The opposite side is relating to if you had an HDMI connected, maybe using an Atomos Ninja or something like that, then that will display up on this side and we'll have all the information there, which is actually pretty cool. Once we dive in, hopefully you guys can see. Let's get a little bit closer again. As we dive in here, we can see that we have full HD. We can go down to 6.2K, 4K, and a DCI 4K there, which is quite nice. If you are looking for a little higher resolution, maybe go for the Xh2 rather than the Xh2s, which provides higher resolution in video and in photography as well. So that one will have a 40 megapixel sensor and it can record up to 8K, which is absolutely incredible. One thing to note as well, once again, you'll have F-Log recording inside the camera, so you'll have that higher dynamic range. You'll also get the profiles as well, so what we used to. So let's have a look what profiles this camera has. Let's go over to, say, photography mode here. You can do the profiles in video as well, but most people will be using the log formats. So if we pop in here, if we press to the left, we can see what they've got. So starting off from the start, as we normally are used to here with the Fujifilm cameras, we've got Provia, which is a standard. We've got Velvia, Astia, Classic Chrome, Pro Negative High, Pro Negative Standard, Classic Neg, Nostalgic Neg, Eterna Cinema, we've got Eterna Bleach Bypass, and then we've got Acros, Monochrome, and then Sepia, as we're used to. Really, really nice. Beautiful camera. Perfect if you're looking for a camera to start making videos with. I think this is definitely a solid choice from Fujifilm, and I think this falls in just over £2,000. If you're looking to save a bit on budget, you can maybe take a look at the Xh2 rather than the Xh2s. Okay. Oh, one more thing to note. Larger battery. We've got the super large batteries now on these Fujis, which will last you a long time. Hope you enjoyed it.